Hello. I think we're live. I think we're here, gang. I think this is on. I think we're working. Give me 1 second. Make sure I click all the buttons. We got a lot to kind of discuss today. I'm not sure how long tonight's going to go. We do have some things to cover, right? We do have some things to go over. But I'm not sure how much I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I guess is the long and short of it here. Non-fun. I stand with Nicholas, my goat. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about his essay. We're going to talk about his words and his deeds. And very interesting character. Very interesting saga. I have thoughts, and we will get into it. And I want to hear your thoughts throughout, gang. Jumbo Gaming. Well, I don't know if we're gaming today, but you guys playing the Oblivion remaster? Gang, if you guys want to buy me the Oblivion remaster, that would be so super dope. You guys want to get that for me? That'd be nice. Just throw me some super chats, throw me some gift subs. Yeah. Anyway, Noel Elwood says Nicholas Drecker was right in what he said. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna read it. We're gonna see. It is an interesting question. I'll give a few. I went live a few minutes early so people can kind of shuffle on in. It takes a minute for them to get here, right? It's always a little slow at the beginning. I was streaming a little later than I normally do last night. Did you guys watch? I'm not sure if the majority of you did. Had a little interesting debate with a guy named Rattlesnake and a gentleman by the name of Cooley. I did not know about them before yesterday, right? I had no idea who they were. Well, not yesterday, but a couple days before, right? Because I was prepping for the debate, and I went and I checked out their channels. I looked at some of their content. Man, these guys had like 800,000 YouTube subscribers. It was crazy. Okay, and so I was like, man, I better prepare real good for this. They're probably excellent rhetoricians. They're probably got great arguments. Man, I really gotta step up my game here. Turns out they're retarded. I don't know why they have so many subscribers. I'm honestly not sure, but they're dumb. Like I'm not talking like they have dumb ideas, which they do, to be clear. But they were unable to really deal with anything I was saying or engage with the topic in any meaningful way. They kept bringing up non-points. They keep, no offense, non-fun, right? But they kept bringing up things that hurt their cause. It was a weird discussion. And they threatened to kill me at the end, or at least Cooley did. That was fun. He said he was going to kill me in a soy pill. Wild. But it's always fun when you get those. Oh, look, I don't take it too seriously. I don't think that the guy's gonna do anything, right? He doesn't seem the type to actually follow through on what he says. But it was fun that we made him that angry, and I wasn't really trying either. Conservative liberalism says probably the relatable factor. You'd be surprised how many retards there are out there, huh? Just Lost says, what is this in response to? Oh, what I'm talking about now is the debate last night. It's just an aside. That's not the topic for today. Again, I'm just killing time for people to get in here, okay? It's a little before 6. I went live a little early. I'm going to wait till 6 to get into the essay and get into the main topic for today. Nonfon says he legit just steals content. Oh, is he one of those? Like, so I've noticed this in the streaming world, that there are people who just basically exist as a megaphone for other people's content and ideas. So what I mean by that is you'll have like a Destiny fan channel or a Tim Pool fan channel or a Hassan fan channel or something like that, right? And they'll sometimes label themselves appropriately, but sometimes they won't. They'll pretend to be their own thing. And all they do, literally everything they do, is just content based off this other streamer or this other content creator. and that's it. And it does well, right? It's a lucrative thing. People make a lot of money off of that. But I don't know. It just feels it's not something I could do personally. I would get bored of it. And I'm not that big of a fan of anyone to really just kind of parrot their talking points every day, all day. Look, and to be clear, there's streamers I respect, there's content creators I respect, there's journalists I respect, there's authors I respect, there's thinkers I respect, and I will talk about them, and I will praise them, and I will discuss their points. But nah, I'm not gonna be like some kind of weird fan channel. That'd be weird. Human Centipede's channels, kind of. It's kind of like that. It's they'll do a lot of React content, and it's not necessarily always React content, but they're just like they're megaphones is the best way I could describe it, I guess. Just Lost says I'd be a soy pill fanboy YouTuber. Soy pill was good last night. Soy pill was good. Me and Soy pill both like to talk. So we kind of stepped on each other's toes a little bit because we both wanted to get in the points and things like that. And our arguments were subtly different. We went down different lines and wanted to take it from different angles. But overall, I think we did well. I think we complimented each other. And yeah, I would debate with him again. They're trying to set me up for another debate on that channel on free speech. We're going to be debating whether or not Trump is the greatest threat to free speech we've seen in the last 20 years. I think he is. And we're going to set up a debate for that probably the first week of May. So they liked me over there. I don't know, it was fine. The only criticism I would have, and it's just a style thing, right? And so it's just like a preference thing. It's just my preference. They were very strict on the no interrupting rule. And I like a more free-flowing kind of thing. But it's a preference thing. So, her house, her rules. I get it. Noel Elwood says, if Trump refused to allow elections, would an insurrection be justified? We're going to talk about that. And it is 6 o'clock. So we get to go into the essay. And gang, oh man, it's such an interesting topic. As you all know, I am a big opponent of political violence. I don't think it's good. I think it's bad, at least bad outcomes. I think that it's something that a lot of people use as a first resort when it should be the last. I am not a pacifist by any means. I do think there are lines. But a lot of times when this topic comes up of political violence, I just meme on it. I just denigrate it. I meme on it. I poo-poo it. I push it down. But I read this essay. My attention was drawn to this essay by a man by the name of Nicholas Decker. Okay, and I had no idea who he was before this whole kerfuffle. Okay, and I read his essay, and his essay is entitled "When Must We Kill Them?" Yeah, very attention grabbing, and again, my instinct on seeing the title was like, oh, this is just some crazy. This is just some insane person. But then I read the essay. I think it's an interesting enough essay that it deserves a serious critique and a serious response. Because I have criticisms of what he says, but he lays out his argument in a way that I found that demanded a response that wasn't just a meme. Does that make sense? Because there is a discussion to be had. Most people don't want to discuss it. They're just trying to lay the groundwork so that they can justify being violent and being bullies or what have you, and indulging in their hate. This essay is not that. And we're going to read it, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about the author because, again, I looked into the author, and this guy's kind of a Giga Chad. I'm not going to lie. He had his full name and his address in public so anyone could find him. This becomes relevant later, okay? The Secret Service showed up to his house to talk, to confront him about his essay. And he debated them into letting him keep it up. Pretty Giga Chad, right? I mean, look, I'm a big proponent of free speech, and I might disagree with what he's writing here and that he should have wrote it. But damn, Secret Service come up to your house and then you debate them and they let you keep up your when must we kill them argument. It's pretty come on, you gotta give him that. You gotta give him that. You gotta be like, okay, that's some skill there. That's some fucking Giga Chad energy right there. That's crazy. We also talk. He also got evicted from his home because he kept getting death threats. He kept getting harassment and things like that from a bunch of people who were very, very mad that he wrote this article. And he got evicted. And people were saying, hey, you should get a lawyer. There are rules against a landlord evicting a tenant because of this kind of thing. And he was like, no, I think landlord tenants, lawyers for tenants are bad. I'm against that. And so rather than fight it, he stood by his principles, agree with those principles or not. He stood by his principles and lost his fucking home because he wasn't willing to violate his principles in this, right? Something that most people would say, hey, get a lawyer, fight it in court. Don't let him kick you out like that. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that. It'll make things worse for everyone. I think that we shouldn't do that kind of thing. I don't know, man. That's pretty Giga Chad. That's pretty based. Again, I think it's a weird principle. I don't know if I agree with this principle, but he stuck by it. He was also convinced, okay, to put together a GoFundMe to raise money for his situation. He resisted it at first, but then he gave in and he raised a bunch of money. And after he raised the money, he gave all that money away to other charities because he said it didn't feel right. He said, you know what? There are people who are worse off than me. There are people who are going through it worse than me. There are people who are struggling worse than me. There are more worthy causes than me out there. And he just gave all the money away. He just gave it all away. Crazy. That's crazy. But crazy in a good way. If more people were like this guy, I think we'd be in a better place. Honestly, if more people lived by their principles like this, we'd be in a better place. But you know what? Enough of that. Let's actually read what this man wrote. Well, let me adjust the screen here. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see what it is that he had to say. And why I personally am taking it seriously. Because again, like I said, usually in these kinds of things, I denigrate it. I don't take it seriously because I don't feel it's serious. But this guy, his essay here deserves a serious critique and a serious response. And I want to do my best to give that to you all today. And if Nicholas happens to ever see my show or see clips of this, I hope I hope he appreciates that I actually engaged with what he was saying. So let's read it, okay? When must we kill them? Evil has come to America. And this was written in April 16th, so a week ago. by Nicholas Decker. He has a Substack you could go to, Homo Economicus. You could check it out. So here's the edit he made 2 days after. He says, "Well, didn't that get quite a reception? The response has been far greater than I anticipated. I was certainly impressed by the inventiveness and facility of my interlocutors. I wish to make a few points clear. Violence is a last resort, not a first resort. It must come after the exhaustion of all possible remedy. It is not, moreover, appropriate for decisions which are merely unwise or disastrous. It is to be employed only in defense of our Constitution and of democracy. If it is resorted to, it must be narrowly targeted and aimed only at extirpating those who have power and are unjustly resisting giving it up." So this was an edit 2 days after he wrote it, 2 days after people found his essay, plastered it all over the internet, and it generated a lot of buzz, a lot of feedback. A lot of people were talking about it, mostly negatively. But again, let's read it. Let's see what he actually had to say. So let's get to the meat here. Evil has come to America. The present administration is engaged in barbarism. It has arbitrarily imprisoned its opponents, revoked the visas of thousands of students, imposed taxes upon us without our consent, and seeks to destroy the institutions which oppose it. Its leader has threatened those who produce unfavorable coverage and suggested that their licenses be revoked. It has deprived us, in many cases, of trial by jury. It has subjected us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution, and has transported us beyond seas to be imprisoned for pretend offenses. It has scorned the orders of our courts and threatens to alter fundamentally our form of government. It has pardoned its thugs and extorted the lawyers who defended its opponents. If these actions become normal, the government could arrest anyone and deport them to a prison in a foreign land without hope of redress, for no reason. It is nothing less than the total abdication of rule of law in this country. There is no guard or protection against it. If this theory prevails, then it is the end of America as a free nation. So he's setting the scene here. He is laying out the foundation of his argument, where he's going to rest his main thrust on. Here is the situation we find ourselves in. Do we agree with his framing of the situation? I'm just curious, gang. Do you, dear viewer, think that he is framing things correctly? I'm just really curious. Chiba Hawk says, absolutely, he hit the nail on the head. Factually accurate, go on. Okay. Just Lost says, yes. Vladimir Putin says, what's democracy? Non-Fawn says, at least mostly. I agree with you, Non-Fawn. I think that mostly he's just correct. He's just accurate in his framing. I think it's a touch hyperbolic at times, but only a touch. What I would point to, here, let me bring it back up for you, is I think that this portion right here, there is no guard or protection against it. If this theory prevails, then it is the end of America as a free nation. I think that's a bit hyperbolic here, simply because there are guards and protections, and we're seeing them play out right now. We're seeing that the Supreme Court is opposing a lot of what Trump is doing, and we're seeing some institutions like Harvard, for example, fight back against the government through the courts. So there is, at least for now, some hope of redress. We will see, right? But the scene he's laying out is not hyperbole. It is pretty on point. Again, I have quibbles. I have quibbles here and there. But here we are. So this is his, again, the scene he is setting on which our conversation is going to take place. Let's keep reading. Oh, let's get rid of this. Okay. I do not wish for this essay to be a mere catalog of outrages. The conduct of the present administration is as well known to you as it is to myself, and can be understood by any sensible person. On it, no further comment is ventured. What remains for us to decide is when we fight. If the present administration wills it, it could sweep away the courts, it could sweep away democracy, and it could sweep away freedom. Protest is useful only insofar as it can affect action. Our words might sway the hearts of men, but not of beasts. If the present administration chooses this course, then the questions of the day can be settled not with legislation, but with blood and iron. In short, we must decide when we must kill them. None of us wish for war, but if the present administration wishes to destroy the nation, I would accept war rather than see it perish. I hope that you would choose the same. Pretty dire, gang. Pretty dire. He has set the scene. He tells us we're no longer going to be talking about all these outrages or debating it. This is just how I see it. We're not going to comment further. And then he talks about the threat, the risk. And here's where I think I disagree with him. And it's at this point when I diverge from Mr. Decker. If the present administration wills it, it could sweep away the courts, it could sweep away democracy, and it could sweep away freedom. I think that they'll try, but I don't think that they can succeed. I think that there will come a point where even the diehards, even the most MAGA of MAGA-esque people decide, no, this is too much. Now, there's going to be a remnant. There's going to be a fragment. There's going to be like 10% who are just ride or die, who no matter what will ride with the president. Even no matter what evil he attempts, no matter what destruction of the Constitution he attempts, that they're going to do that. But I don't think that Decker is correct here when he lays out the threat. I think that we'd have to descend much further than we are to get to that point. He says something at the end that I also disagree with. He says, our words might sway the hearts of men, but not of beasts. As if the Trump supporters are just beasts. And surely, some are. We can't shy away from that fact. They're one of the main issues I take with Trump and his administration is the celebration of evil, the celebration of sadism, that they wish to, they just rejoice in the suffering of their enemies. And I've seen this on the left. Keep this in mind. I've seen this on the left. This isn't unique, okay, to the right. But Trump does it in a way that makes it mainstream in a way that the left never has. Trump runs the government. He appoints leaders. He appoints judges. He appoints all sorts of people to execute his will. And they revel in causing pain. They revel in it. They like it. They rejoice in it. Look at for evidence, okay? Look at the videos that they have produced about the deportations, where they have this music going, right, to celebrate it, and they're all cheering it on, walking people in chains, right? Look at the White House Twitter account posting cartoons of them arresting and deporting illegal immigrants, tearing them away, right? Sending them to the foreign torture prison, right? It's pretty crass. It's pretty sadistic. And look, if I'm not anti-deportation, I want to be clear here. If you can show that someone is a threat to America, that someone is a violent criminal, that someone is a gang member, any of these things, then by all means, send them away. The problem I have is that they're not just sending them to another country. They're sending them to a foreign torture prison in a foreign jurisdiction that we can't affect their release after they get there. There's no redress if we get it wrong. If they screw it up and they send the wrong guy, they can't get them back. And we've seen this through the Garcia saga, right? How is that legal? It's not, to be clear. Like, again, we read this earlier. He is defying the courts. Trump is absolutely, at this point, defying the Supreme Court of the United States. We are in a constitutional crisis right now. Today. This is happening. Decker poses a question. When must we fight? When must we kill them, is how he puts it. I think that this is rather irresponsible rhetoric. Because while Decker might treat this subject with the level of gravitas that I think it deserves, and I think he does. I'll give this to Decker. I think that he does treat this much more seriously than I see it treated in most instances, right? His words will be used by less serious people. His words will be used by people who treat this much less seriously and with much less gravitas. He has given them a weapon, if you will, to push for violence. And I don't think we're near there yet. Not near there yet. But let's keep reading. Let's see what he has to say. Let's keep going. Well, he also says, none of us wish for war, but if the present administration wishes to destroy the nation, I would accept war rather than see it perish. I hope that you would choose the same. And I think that, like, there is a point, right, where we would do this, where we would say, okay, enough is enough. It's time. We've tried every other recourse available. We've tried elections. We've tried the courts. We've tried advocating, convincing the others, the people, things like that. But there would have to be, I think, a confluence of events. So it would have to be something that is destructive enough, harmful enough to enough people, as well as something which we have tried and failed to correct by every single other means. Every single other means. Again, we're not near there yet. I don't think the conditions we see ourselves in right now rises to either of those levels. It is a question worth asking, though. And I think that we all have to ask ourselves this. At what point do we break that kind of social contract and do what we need to do, right? At what point? And it's an interesting question. And I think that we all need to kind of talk about it and decide. But again, I want to reiterate, I don't think we're there yet by a long shot. And again, I think that while Decker does treat this with gravitas, I think that in general, it was irresponsible to put this article out and talk about it in the venue that he did and the way he did. But let's keep reading. Let's keep going. Let's keep seeing what he has to say. But what to do? The rot of the present administration runs deeper than one man. The sacrifice of a hero is insufficient to save our nation, and a gust of wind on a summer day would not have saved us. For let us make no mistake, the problem is not one man, but a whole class of people. If one head is cut off, another would take its place. He's referencing the assassination attempt of Trump here. You all know my response to that. And he is expanding the list of targets here. He's saying not just Trump, not just the people in his administration, but a whole class of people. And I think that when it comes down to it, he's right. People think that this goes away when Trump goes away are mistaken. There is a whole group of people out there who are reveling in the destruction of everything we hold dear, okay? They want to. They want to destroy things. They want to tear it all down. They want to see it all burn. And they are trying to burn it. The images and the stories of people being hurt by this do not dissuade them, but instead empower them. They revel in it. What would cause a normal man or a normal woman to turn away and to feel shame instead become a source of celebration and empowerment for them. It is a problem. Again, I think that this man, Decker, proposed solution here. And again, he's not really proposing a solution. He's simply asking a question. It's a dangerous question. It is. It is a dangerous question. I think he would probably admit it himself if he were here. It's a dangerous question to ask for a host of reasons. And again, I think it was a irresponsible question to ask while we have so many other avenues for correction here. Keep going. Violence only makes sense as part of a coordinated strategy. This is why protests are important, not as a way of changing the present administration's actions, but as a way to coordinate a group. There may come a time when we shall have no guarantee of freedom, but the one which we make for ourselves. If it comes, I tell you that there is no greater honor than he who lays down his life for his friends. Until then, we must wait. So here he is mentioning like it's not time yet, but he's kind of prepping people here. He's prepping like pretty hard, talking about martyrs, right? And how it's glory and great honor, etc. Oh, that's it's again irresponsible rhetoric. It's a lot, gang. Let's keep going. And when is that time? Your threshold may differ from mine, but you must have one. If the present administration should cancel elections, if it should engage in fraud in the electoral process, if it should suppress the speech of its opponents and jail its political adversaries, if it ignores the will of Congress, if it should directly spurn the orders of the court. All these are reasons for revolution. It may be best to stave off and wait for elections to throw out this scourge, but if it should threaten the ability to remove it, we shall have no choice. We will have to do the right thing. We will have to prepare ourselves to die. I hope that we should conduct ourselves with such courage that it will be our finest hour. I expect that we shall do our duty. You think it was this part that got the Secret Service sent on him? Right? Because it was riding the line. It was riding the line pretty hard up till now, right? But I could see arguments like, okay, well, he's asking the question, he's just talking about it, etc., etc., etc. But bro, that paragraph we just read, that's some serious shit. It is a question though. It is something that we have to ask. Where is your line? And I'm curious, my dear audience, where is yours? And he listed out a few things. Let's go back to them, okay? He listed out a few things. I'm just curious. Let's try this. I'm going to read them out. And if you agree with the time, if you think that this is enough, if that's your line, give me a 1 in chat, okay? Put 1s in chat, okay? 2s if you don't think it's a line, okay? If the present administration should cancel elections. So, say we get to the midterms, okay? Or 2028, presidential elections. And Trump is like, we've discovered a plot by the mainstream media in those MS-13 to steal the election. So rather than let them steal this election, we're going to cancel it so that they don't have a chance to steal the election. So there will be no election this year. We're going to just skip it until we can root out these evil Democrats that have tried to destroy our electoral system. Say Trump does that. Dave Potra says Trump never said anything like that. We're asking our lines, right? We're discussing a possible event in the future. If this happens, it's a hypothetical, right? If he does this, or any administration does this, if Biden had done this, if Biden had said, well, you know what, Trump's a felon, and I just don't think we're going to have elections this year, right? So if you want to flip the script, make it a Democrat in your mind, if that helps you internalize, or I guess if that helps you kind of come to grips with the question I'm asking, by all means, right? But that's a question for you. 1s in chat if this is a line for you. If a president canceling the elections, is that enough to say, okay, we got the Second Amendment for a reason, baby. Okay? We got the Second Amendment for a reason. I think that's a 1 for me. I think that's a 1. If any president canceled elections, I think, okay, well, if you're not going to let us remove you that way, there are other ways. That's a big one. I think most people would recognize that as a fundamental breaking of our nation if that happened. I can't think of a single time that didn't they have elections during the Civil War? I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. I'm not a Civil War historian, right? Yeah, Civil War and World War II. They had elections. But yeah, I absolutely think that's a line. So let's keep going. If it should engage in fraud in the electoral process. Is that a line for you? Interestingly enough, This was what a lot of the January 6ers thought. The January 6ers thought in their heads they committed fraud and it was a line for them. And they broke into the Capitol building, beat up a bunch of cops, did a bunch of bullshit, right? Tried to stop the count, tried to overthrow the election, all that. It was a line for them. That was a line for them. Is it a line for you, dear viewer? One's in chat. If that's a line for you. If you knew that the government actually stole the election, actually committed fraud, actually stuffed ballot boxes with fake ballots from fake people, and you could find that out, and you knew it, right? You didn't just suspect it, you knew it. Would that be enough for you to take up arms? To go Second Amendment? What are you thinking? Yeah, I think that's a one for me, too. I think that's a one for me as well. Night of Day says Wick is busy being a big shot now. He doesn't dress in his wizard hood anymore. What? I'm in my wizard hood. What are you talking about? Hopefully that's not a line for you, whether I'm wearing my wizard hood or not. Okay. If it should suppress the speech of its opponents and jail its political adversaries. This is a maybe for me. It depends on the scope and the scale of it. Like, say Trump had arrested Hillary Clinton on some trumped up charges or whatever. I don't think that meets my criteria, right? I don't think that meets my criteria. I don't think that's a 2 for me, gang. I think that's a no. But again, this is a matter of scale, right? Or is it locking, like if they had locked up the Democrats in Congress and just marched all the Democrats, all the House, all the Senate, right? All of it, and just threw them in jail. And then said, hey, we're going to take over the airwaves. Then I think it becomes a 1. So again, it really depends on the scale here for me. But what do you guys think? 1s in chat? I think that's your line. 2s if it's not. If it ignores the will of Congress, that's a 2 for me. I just don't think that rises to it. Again, I'm sure there are some extreme ignoring the will of Congress that can go on that would turn it into a 1. But in general, that's a 2. That's a 2 for me. If it should directly spurn the orders of the court. What are we thinking? Say, even if you don't think that Trump has defied the Supreme Court yet, I think he has. But say you don't, okay? And say it escalates and the Supreme Court is direct and is very direct and says you need to bring Garcia home now, right? You have broken the law. You are in contempt. Then you have violated the courts and you need to bring him home to purge the contempt charge. Or you will face contempt. And they're just direct about it. You can't weasel out of it. There's nowhere to hide with it. Is that a line for you? If the Supreme Court says that, and then President Trump is like, nah, F off. I don't care. Make me. Is that a line for you? Is that a 1 or a 2, gang? What do you think? Alexander Wren says, can you be clear? Are you saying that this happens and all our normal processes of redressing grievances process to be entirely fraudulent and corrupt, leaving us with no way to resist otherwise? That's the thing, right? We're assuming that every attempt to correct it through democratic means, through legislative means, through judicial means, has failed, has just not gone through. Like, they cancel elections, we sue them, we try to get Congress to pass laws saying they can't cancel elections, whatever, right? And they're like, neener, neener, you can't make us. That's what I'm saying. That's the hypothetical, right? Non-smoker says neener, neener is a strong argument, to be honest. True. And again, these are hypotheticals. I'm not saying they're happened yet, though I think the Supreme Court one is happening. But it is a question. And I think that the Mr. Decker who wrote this article is correct to ask these questions. Again, I think he's irresponsible in the way he's framed it and with the kind of like callous disregard for who will be reading that and what they will use it to do. I think it inflames tensions at a time that tensions are we're stretched thin, we're taut, we're pulled tight, right? We're gonna snap. We're like a guitar string that's tuned too tight. Just one strum and it's gonna snap us all, right? Some things are gonna break, and I do think that there are. I would not have. Again, I don't think this should be taken down. To be clear, I don't think he should be punished for his speech in any way. I don't think he should face any kind of charges. As I said, the Supreme Court went and talked to him about it, and they let him keep this up. Okay, so if the Supreme Court's letting him keep, not the Supreme Court, the Secret Service, sorry. If the Secret Service is letting him keep it up, I think it's okay to talk about, right? Crazy shit, right? But yeah, it is the question deserves a response. So we're doing that today. We're talking about it. Keep going. Oh, thank you for the $20, Alexander. I do really appreciate you. Oh, gang, if you want to give me money, today the money you give me will go to buying Oblivion Remastered. Okay, so if you want to buy me Oblivion Remastered, I just need like 30 more bucks. Okay, 30 more bucks, and I can get Oblivion Remastered. So give me those super chats, give me those gift subs, give me those bits. I would love to play that game. It'd be great. Yeah, Oblivion Remastered came out. Get it for me, gang. Buy it for me. Okay, let's keep going. So we went through those. Let me just read this off. All these are reasons for revolution. So for Mr. Decker here, every single condition we laid out that we went through a hypothetical on, for him, these are all reasons to take up arms. He says, again, and I'll repeat this, it may be best to stave off and wait for elections to throw out this scourge, but if it should threaten the ability to remove it, we shall have no choice. We will have to do the right thing. We will have to prepare ourselves to die. I hope that we should conduct ourselves with such courage that it will be our finest hour. I expect that we shall do our duty. While we wait, we must not be like sheep to the slaughter. We cannot cooperate. We must hide those who are persecuted. We must foil the aims of their agents. The state and local governments which we control can litigate the actions of the present administration. Their police can refuse to share information or be deputized to do the work of the evil ones. If war is politics by other means, then politics is war by other means. There can be no surrender, for surrender means the oppression of us all. These are exceptional times. We have not faced such a threat in many years. I wish it had not come. It is the sorrow of the world that these times have come, and it is we who shall have to bring woe unto those through whom it came. The future is not certain. It may be that the present administration should flinch and turn back in the face of lighter action. I fondly hope that that may be the case. But if it comes, we must awaken from this ignorant dream. This evil will not pass without blood, sweat, toil, and tears. So harden your hearts and be prepared to die. $50 for Alexander Wren. So then, the system is fraudulent. It would be our duty to resist by any means necessary. Thank you for the $50. Gonna be playing Oblivion. Heck yeah, thank you for the money. I know I'm cheering this on after saying something like really. The reason why this is serious is because Decker is serious here. Like, he's not playing a game, okay? He's not saying this lightly. The reason I chose to engage with Mr. Decker's words is because it is clear to me that he is deadly serious. No Pascal says someone clip that transition. From the be prepared to die to yay super chat. That's very streamer-esque. I know. Solemn Argus says, God-given rights are different than just all American rights. Legal rights aren't human rights, and I don't think illegals should be given legal rights. Just not anything other than what most countries would do. Can you elaborate on that, Solemn Argus? Oh, are you having a conversation with someone in chat? Maybe. What do we think? Cameraman 502 says, that's it? I was expecting more. It's a very short article. He doesn't belabor the point. He uses his words with care. I think it's very well written. I think it's well argued. Again, I disagree. I think that he assumes too much. I think that he posits a scene which I don't necessarily agree with the setting that he has painted, the picture he has painted. I think that he is a bit too quick to call attention to certain options. But nevertheless, it is a discussion to be had. Because that's a question we should be having at all times, not just during the Trump administration. I think that at any point, the government should fear its people. They should be afraid to take away your rights. They should be afraid to send you off to a foreign gulag without a trial. They should fear repercussions. I don't just say this about the Trump administration. I would say this about the Biden administration. I would say this about the Obama administration. I would say this about the Bush administration. I would say this about the Clinton administration and the Reagan administration. I think at any point, right, the government should be scared to violate the Constitution of the United States. Unfortunately, and this is where I agree with Decker, we have a growing segment of the American public who not only does not care about the Constitution, they are actively wanting the Constitution to be violated because it gets in their way. We have a growing segment of this of the population of the United States of America who wants a king. They don't want a president. They want a monarch. They want someone who makes the decisions, and none can gainsay him. None can get in his way. The courts could not stop him. The legislative branch could not stop him. The people could not stop him. As long as he gives them what they want, they are willing to go along with him. The question becomes, how much of the population is like that and what remedy we have to deal with those people. Because again, I reject Decker's premise that they are beasts that cannot be swayed. I reject that. One of the hopes that I hold out, and this might be a weird hope. It might be a weird hope, but it is a hope nonetheless. I hope that people see the damage that Trump is doing to this country, and they wake up. They see the fact that Trump is unable to govern, that the Trump administration literally is incapable of properly governing the United States of America. We see this with Hegseth and how he's mishandled classified info not just once, but twice. And instead of facing any repercussion whatsoever, they keep him on to own the libs. And in the meantime, the Department of Defense is in disarray. It's not working. It's falling apart. I hope that people see this. And I hope that they act accordingly. And by accordingly, I mean I'm not supporting this anymore. I'm not supporting this guy anymore. And I have some hope because I know some Trump voters. I personally know some Trump voters, and I've talked to some online Trump voters that were big Trump supporters who have expressed outrage at some of Trump's more brazen violations of human rights, of constitutional rights, and these things. I know people who were cheering on deporting illegal immigrants, but then they saw how Trump was doing it, and they balked, as most should, I think, as we all should, I think. And they were like, wait, I didn't think he was going to just send them there. I thought that they would have to prove something. I thought that they would have to at least have some evidence. I thought that they would at least, if it came to it that they got something wrong, I thought that they would bring them back. And he's saying, and they're seeing that he's not. And in fact, he's fighting to not bring them back. And that gives me hope that even Trump supporters, right, see this as the overreach and the threat that it is. I don't think we're going to get to Decker's lines that he lays out. Because I think before we get there, I could be wrong here, but I think and I hope and I pray that Congress will turn on him. Because this could be stopped at any time. We have the courts fighting it. But at some point, I think that Congress will do that too. Congress will oppose this too and stop him. And I think once he loses the support of Congress, I think it's just over for Trump. We got to get to that point. Like, look, there's always going to be ride or dies. Like the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Boeberts, they're just gone. Okay, they're just gone. Okay, they will support Trump killing their dogs. Okay, Trump could go and shoot their dog, and they would praise him, saying, "Oh, I wanted a new dog anyway. That dog was getting old and was disobedient." But I'm talking to the more reasonable ones, even the ones who are kind of like going along with it right now because they're getting their agenda done and they like kind of going along for the ride, for the political power they gain from this, from the prestige they gain from this, and the circles that support their reelection bids and things like that. There will come a point when that's no longer the case. I don't know when that point is, but it will come. And I think once it comes, I think Trump loses any ability to do anything. And that's good, because what he's doing right now is tearing apart the country. Let's read some of these comments. $5 from Alexander Wynn. Enjoy the game. Also, $75 says everyone who voted either way is on a watch list now. Thank you for that. Oh, Zetsway, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Welcome to the stream. Yeah. Welcome to the stream. Chris says, deporting illegal aliens is good. They broke the law and don't belong here. But there are methods to doing it, and this ain't it, Chief. Precisely. Look, again, Clinton deported like 12.5 million illegal immigrants during his 8 years. Obama deported like, 3 million? Maybe more. Bush deported like 8 million. Getting millions of people out of the country and deporting millions of illegal immigrants using the proper processes, I don't know. It's not some Herculean task. It's not some Sisyphean struggle that cannot be done. It's been done for decades. We've done it. Okay? And you could quibble with some of the ways that Biden did it, with some of the ways that Obama did it, with some of the ways that Bush or Clinton did it. And this was, they had some litigation against some of their actions and things like that. But the difference between then and now, okay, the difference between then and now is that if the courts had told Obama, stop it, you can't do it this way, fix it, Obama would fix it. When they told Biden, stop it, and what I'm talking about with Biden, I'm talking about when the Supreme Court shut down his debt relief, his college debt canceling that he was trying to do. He had a program to try to cancel loads of college debt. It was super broad. And the Supreme Court came in, took a look at it, and says, you can't do it this way. This is illegal. You're violating this law. Change it. Biden changed it. He became compliant with the law. He changed it so that the Supreme Court ruled he was no longer in violation of the laws that he had initially been in violation of. He fixed it. That's the difference. Trump is not doing that. Not yet, at least. And my frustration, one of many, with the Trump administration is that they control the House, they control the Senate. You have a Supreme Court with 6 conservatives on it. They can do this. They can implement their agenda the right way. I don't agree with their agenda, to be clear. But if they wanted to, there are ways to do it that would be in full compliance with the Constitution, the law, and the courts. They could get exactly what they wanted done. It wouldn't be hard. They could pass these laws. They could pass this legislation. All of that could happen. If they wanted to change the law, they had the votes to do it. Right? They had the votes to adjust all these things. But they're not doing it that way. And they're not doing that way on purpose. They're not doing it that way on purpose. What they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, what the Trump administration is trying to do is it's trying to say and to show that it does not have to follow the Constitution, that they can get away with it. Because once they do, they can continue to get away with it. This is the start. These are the issues, the thin end of the wedge, gang. This is the start. If they can get this in, they're going to shove that wedge in and do a whole lot more. Today, it's student visas. Today, it's people who write op-eds that are critical of Israel. Tomorrow, it's legal citizens who have been naturalized, people who have gone through the immigration process, become citizens. Tomorrow, it's birthright citizenship. In fact, not tomorrow. That's today. That's right now. They're having they are challenging this in the Supreme Court. They're challenging the birthright citizenship. What birthright citizenship is, ladies and gentlemen, birthright citizenship is outlined in the 14th Amendment, which says that anyone born on American soil is a U.S. citizen. There's a couple other qualifiers, right? They have to be under the jurisdiction, so it can't be like a child of a diplomat, for example, right? But if you were born here, you are a citizen of the United States. That's in the 14th Amendment. They want to get rid of that, and I'd imagine they want to apply that retroactively. That's a whole host of issues, of Pandora's box that gets opened up. Rip Haven says, why not a diplomat? It's because they're not subject to... Diplomatic immunity is a thing. Diplomats are not subject to the laws of the United States, even though they exist on American soil. They have what's called diplomatic immunity. So they are not in the jurisdiction of American jurisprudence. So that's the difference there. Cameraman 502 for $5 says, if they carry out their agenda the legal way, they would also own the libs. It would drive the libs no less mad, but they need to be seen crossing lines. Well, like I said, I think that they're wanting to, it's a show of force. It's a way to say, you can't stop us, and we don't have to listen to any laws or any rules or any judge or any congressman or any voter, and we can simply do what we like. Rip Haven says, that's because a diplomat doesn't fall under a jurisdiction. That's what I just said. Same as an illegal. What? Illegal immigrants are absolutely subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. That's why we're deporting them. That's how we're deporting them. That's why we were able to arrest them. That's why we're able to apprehend them. That's why they were able to charge them. What? What are you talking about? What? You cannot arrest a diplomat. You cannot deport a diplomat. You cannot charge a diplomat. You can expel them from the country, but they are not subject to our laws. Immigrants are, legal or otherwise. If you break the law, you can be punished. And illegal immigrants are. Diplomats have what's called diplomatic immunity, which means they are not subject to our laws. If they break certain laws, we cannot punish them for it. They have to go through a process through their own country, which will remove them and probably punish them on their own. But we can't do it. It's a fundamentally different thing. No Cow Mike says, it always starts with the groups that are already less popular with the general population, the ones who've been demonized. However, once they're gone, the next group gets the same demonization. It never ends. That's the strat right now, yes. Marshal Georgy Zhukov says, just to put this in simple terms, if Wick beats up a hooker in Mexico, Mexico can still arrest him. True. Unless I'm a diplomat. And then I can beat up a hooker in Mexico, and they can't. Now, I'll probably get removed and from my position and be sent to the States, and the States would charge me. But Mexico can't. And you understand why this exists and why it's a good thing that we have diplomatic immunity. That way, our diplomats in Russia, for example, Putin can't just run on up, says they broke the law, and then try them in a Russian court and then extract secrets from them by torture, etc., etc. He can't do that, at least not legally. Can diplomats commit murder? Again, we can't charge them for it, but they will get charged in their own country. Like, they won't get away with it. If say we had a diplomat from Mexico, and that diplomat killed someone on American soil, what would happen is we would give that evidence to the Mexican government, expel the diplomat from Mexico, and then the Mexicans would charge him and he would go to jail. But it would be the Mexicans doing it, not the Americans. Does this make sense to people? Do we get it? Are we understanding? And do we understand how that's a fundamentally different thing than an illegal immigrant? That diplomatic immunity is a different thing than being an illegal immigrant, and how one is subject to our laws and one is not really. Greens of Plenty says there's an Inside Edition or some such video showing Saudi diplomats doing about 90 miles per hour down residential streets in Beverly Hills or something in a Lambo and getting out and saying "F you, Americans," and he got recalled. Yeah, which is what happens if you do that kind of shit. You'll get recalled, and depending on what you do, your country will charge you and punish you for it. I didn't know people didn't know about diplomatic immunity, though. I thought this was a common thing. Maybe I need to readjust my priors. I guess I don't know. Lethal Weapon 2, diplomatic immunity. Natural Phenomenon says, "Wick, you did amazing on Tim Pool." Well, thank you. I could have done better. I think the first 20 minutes I was nervous. I think I made some mess ups in the first 20 minutes. But after that, I agree. I did very well. Super Blue says diplomatic community used to be a common plot device in movies. I mean, I've seen stuff. Look, I won't lie. That's how I learned about it at first. That's how I was aware of the concept. Is through shows and movies and books, right? Through media. So I didn't see the video. So apparently, first of all, let's look at this guy, okay? Here is a video, or at least a picture of a video. This is a guy, this is Nicholas Drecker guy, and here's the Secret Service that confronted him. They caught this on video, gang. There's a video out of it somewhere. I could not find the video. I tried for you, ladies and gentlemen. I tried real hard to find this video. It's been making the rounds in people's DMs and stuff, but I don't think it's public. I tried. And if you have a link to it, please, by all means. But this is him talking to the Secret Service agent that came to his house. This is according to a semi-trusted source. Basil, Link of Sunshine, okay? Basil, someone on Twitter. Again, semi-trusted. They don't usually put out misinformation, right? But they are a Twitter person, so grain of salt. Apparently saw the video and said that the Secret Service agent asked him if it came down to it, would you participate in any revolution? And he just straight up goes, I hope I would have the courage to do so. Yeah, it's the firebomb a Walmart guy. It's the person who put out the tweet that's saying, you guys know the tweet saying, people will be like, oh, voting, that pales in comparison to my strategy, which is firebombing a Walmart and then not firebomb a Walmart. It's pretty famous. It's a load-bearing tweet, gang, of our time. And Basil was the one who made it. If this is true, that's straight gangster. The Secret Service comes up to you after you wrote your article titled, When Must We Kill Them? Okay? Goes up to you and asks you, hey, would you participate in a revolution against the United States government? And then going, I hope I would have the courage to do so. That's some gangster shit. Okay, that's some gangster shit. Look, you can disagree with this guy and think he's being a little hyperbolic and he's irresponsible with his rhetoric, but wow, that's crazy. I wouldn't have the balls. I'm going to be real with you. I wouldn't have the balls to do that. Secret Service shows up to my house and I am kissing some ass, okay? I am trying to stay out of prison. I would never. I am a polite, dainty little flower that would never hurt a fly. That's me, okay? I don't want to go to jail. Hell no. This guy, this Nicholas Decker guy is just like, yeah, I'd overthrow the government. I think I would hope I would, at least. That's insane, gang. A fascinating saga. Fascinating saga. The whole thing's just crazy. I will say this. There is no other country on the face of this earth. Had he written that article in Russia, had he wrote that article in Germany, had he wrote that article in Venezuela, had he wrote that article literally on any other country on earth, he would be in jail right now. He would be, in some countries, he'd be dead. Like Russia, he'd be in a gulag for the rest of his life. We'd never hear from him again. In some other countries, he'd just be a body in a river. No other country on earth has our ability to speak freely, to talk about this openly, and have no punishment from the government. Not a fine, not anything. Proud to be an American. Proud to be an American, okay? Free speech is worth protecting. Trump is a threat to it, by the way. Cash God of Fools says if this was under the Biden administration, he would likely be in jail. No. That's not true at all. I think that it is hopeful to me that we are still strong enough as a nation that we can let our citizens write things like that and not punish them for it. I hope it remains true. I hope it continues to be true. I hope it continues to be true so that once our Democrats get elected, okay, that we can have our little Republicans. We can have the Rob Noors of the world, the Andrew Wilsons of the world, the Nicholas Fuentes of the world write similar articles and not be punished by the government. I hope that that can be the case. It signifies a strong nation. Free speech is important. And I want them to write these articles so I can denigrate those articles as well. I don't think that they'd be near as well written as the article that Nicholas Decker wrote. And again, I'm impressed with the writing. It's brevity is the soul of wit. It gets to the point. I disagree with some of the premises. I disagree with some of the conclusions. But overall, I think it's serious enough that it's worth a response. And so that's my response. You know what else? What isn't really worth a response? It isn't serious enough to warrant a response, but I want to do it anyway because fuck that guy. So Tim Pool went to the White House, okay? And he went to, you guys remember Tim Pool. You might have seen him. I was on his show the other day, so you might have heard of him that way, right? We were talking about Russia, Ukraine with Lactoid. He had us both on. It was a whole thing. You might have remember that. Okay. So apparently he got a seat at the White House, okay, in a press briefing. He's considered part of the press now, along with the Associated Press and CNN and Fox and MSNBC and all that. I think that's good, by the way. I think that they should allow more people into these press conferences and things like that. I think they should allow more media personalities and more journalists and podcasters, right, to go into the White House and to ask questions. However, let's see what our buddy Tim did with his chance. So, setting the scene. He's invited to the White House press briefing. He's called upon to ask a question of the White House press secretary. He could ask anything. He could ask about Trump's plans to negotiate with China, Xi Jinping, about the tariffs and the trade deals. He could ask about what are your further plans to implement deportations and immigrants. It doesn't have to be going against, right, the narratives of the White House or anything, right? He can ask anything he wants. He has that power. He has that ability. He's been called upon. It's his time to shine. It's his day in the sun. It's his chance to make a mark, ask a question, get an interesting answer that we can discuss that would shed light on this administration's goals and this administration's thoughts and educate us all. That's there. It's there. He's ready. He's teed up. He's thrown the ball. Let's see what happens.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on that unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the...
That's the question you ask? All these flavors, and you chose to pander? You chose to be like, can you tell me why everyone's so mean to you? You're so nice and good and expanding this media empires to let me sit here. Why are they so mean to you? Can you comment on that? Oh, God. This should be not safe for work content. He is deep-throating that boot, okay? It's not even close. What is going on? Again, I'm not even saying he shouldn't be there or shouldn't have the right to be there. I think it's fine that the White House opens it up to new media, right? To different personalities, to podcasters and things like that. I think that's fine. But this is a question you ask? This is embarrassing. Can we bring back shame, ladies and gentlemen? Can we bring back shame? How can you not feel just shame watching that? If you were a Tim Pool fan, if you were one of his crew or cast or whatever, your guy that you've been backing, your buddy, your friend, gets his shot. Ooh. Like, cringe is a good word because it describes the emotion that you feel when you watch that. Ugh. What? Let's be serious for a minute. This is another problem I have. Look, I have a lot of problems with the Trump administration, but one of the major issues is how he's surrounded himself with sycophants. Sycophants. I think that's how you say it. I'm terrible at pronunciations. He surrounded himself with this. The whole administration surrounds themselves with yes men, with boot kissers, with people who are afraid to even criticize, afraid to ask questions, just basic ones. Sycophants? Thank you. Thank you for the correction. Look, you can make fun of my pronunciation all day, and you are warranted to do so. My pronunciation is horrible. I should be held to account for my bad pronunciations. Okay? I should be held to account. And I'm glad that I have cultivated an audience that will hold me to account when they disagree with me. This is one of the things I'm actually proud of, okay? I'm actually proud that I have a community that will drag me if they think I am wrong. That will drag me if they think I've messed up or performed poorly. That they won't be banned. There will be no repercussions, right? I might disagree with you. I might even yell at you if I disagree with you enough, but you won't be kicked out of my spaces. You won't be banned from my stuff, at least not by me, right? And at least not at my direction. But I'm glad. I think it makes me better. I think it makes me stronger. I think it makes me more wise and more effective as a podcaster, a debater, a commenter, everything. That I have people in my orbit who trust me enough that they can be very extremely critical of me. Trump has done the opposite of this. He has surrounded himself with people who just won't challenge them, who will never take them aside and say, "Hey, you're messing up." And when they do get criticisms from outside sources, they circle the wagons. And instead of addressing those criticisms, they double down. Look at the Hegseth stuff. Again, Hegseth is running the Department of Defense into the ground. It's probably the most ineffectual Department of Defense we've ever had. It's in a constant state of disarray. There are leaks coming out left and right. We are seeing internal fighting and internal battling. He just can't control it. He can't run it. He doesn't have the ability. And to top it off, he's violated classified intel. He has mishandled classified intel over and over and over again with no repercussions. But because it's the libs and people like me, right? I'm a lib, okay? I'm a proud lib. Who are saying, yo, Hegseth needs to resign. This is a joke. They're like, well, we can't let the libs win. Oh, we can't let them do that. They'll get a scalp, right? We can't. They're not in control. We're in control. And they double down and they keep him in. And gang, honestly, for the country, that's not good. But for the Democrats, that's amazing. And let me explain. For the country, it makes us less safe. It makes it so that we are less effective when it comes to war fighting. It makes us less responsive to threats that may come up across the world. It makes it so our allies are less are more hesitant to share intel with us. These are very bad things. Very, very bad things. But when you look at it from a political perspective, it's running their poll numbers into the ground. It's people are banning them left and right on this issue. Even like soft MAGA supporters are looking at this and saying, this is a joke. This is a joke. This isn't serious. We didn't vote for this. We didn't want this. And it's going to be a bloodbath in the midterms. Yeah. I don't know. They are proving themselves in real time incapable of governing this country. $2 in Super Blue. What's your Oblivion build going to be? Look, I always do. I like to do the two-handed sword, heavy armor guy. Okay, really enjoy that. Solemn Argus says, "Oh shit, I forgot to need to go download Oblivion." That's what I'm going to do after today's show. Our donators today have been very generous to me and donated enough to buy Oblivion, so I'm going to be doing that. So thank you again for those donations. Keep giving them to me. I would continue to like your money. But yeah, we are in a state where, again, we have poll after poll after poll coming out that show Trump underwater on the economy. That used to be his issue, gang. He's failing to become positive on even immigration, which was his big thing. He's probably the highest of all the categories is still immigration. He's still breaking even in some polls, but a lot of polls he's underwater by 2-3 points, which isn't a lot. But again, that's his high water mark. Or not his high water mark. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. That's the highest category he has right now. And he's only breaking even on this. When it comes to national security, when it comes to the economy, he's underwater and he's just tanking. He's tanking. So his supporters are fleeing the ship. Now he's going to the trick is he does have surrounded and he's chosen to do this. He's surrounded himself with people who will shield him from reality. Will shield him from the reality of the situation. And will continue to say, you're doing great and everyone loves you, despite that just not being the case. And it's going to cause him to make decisions which are going to run up against reality. And here's the thing. If you try to fight reality, reality is always going to win. You can put it off for some time. You can delay it. If you got enough money, if you got enough power, if you got enough influence, you can delay it. But eventually reality smacks you in the ass, okay? It comes up behind you, raises its hand, and gives it a smack. Democrats did this. This happened to the Democrats. Tried to deny reality. It worked for a time. Eventually, caught up. They tried to deny it. They tried to run against it. They tried to poo-poo it. They tried to shield everyone from it. Didn't work. Trump's speedrunning this. This administration, he is speedrunning this. The Free Press, Barry Weiss co-founded it. She's one of those IDW people, the intellectual dark web or whatever. One of those heterodox folks, Trump supporter, etc., or at least not a Biden supporter, but like one of those like, oh, I'm a centrist type of people, but like an actual centrist, not like me. They put out a piece recently where they had 7 experts from across the political spectrum talking about Trump's handling of the deportations. And I'm not talking like libs. I'm talking about conservatives. There were some liberals there too, but people, again, from the left to the right, across the gamut, all 7. All 7 said he was breaking the law. All 7 said he was destroying the Constitution, or at least threatening the Constitution. Even the most right-wing conservative person on there agreed with that. And again, the Free Press isn't the New York Times. It isn't the Associated Press. It isn't any of these liberal magazines or whatever. It is a fairly centrist to right-wing publication, in my view. When you got that coming out, when you got the New York Post putting out pieces on your tariffs sucking ass, okay? When you got... It's just insane how quickly that they've demonstrated that they don't know what they're doing. And I almost can't. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, right? And if you had asked me a year ago, because if you guys remember, I had arguments all the times, constantly. I had arguments with people, with like Josiah, with Pisco, with a lot of the more liberal kind of Democratic hardliners. And I would say, you know what? I think you guys are being hyperbolic about Trump. I don't think he's going to be that bad. I think it's going to be, I won't vote for him because I think he's worse than Kamala was, but I don't think it'd be that bad. And I scolded them. I scolded them for this. I said, you're being hyperbolic. He's not going to do that. He wouldn't ignore the courts. Of course he would obey the courts. No, he will implement policies we don't like. Yes, that's true. But he's not gonna just violate due process and deport millions to a foreign torture prison. He won't do that. That's crazy. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Oh my God. Big fat L for Wick, okay? Big fat L. I was just wrong. It is insane. Call Sansel. He is crying. Why is Sansel crying? Sansel, do you want to call in? Do you need me to help you out? What's going on with Sansel? I like Sansel. Did Sansel get banned again? What happened with Sansel? Did Sansel get banned again? Yeah, Sansel's been banned like a lot. He mentioned he wanted to talk to you if you open up. I'm here to talk. He can jump backstage. Yeah. DM him or message him. Do I want to talk to Sansel? If he wants to, what does he want to talk about? I talk to Sansel, sure. What does he want to discuss? Is he banned on Twitch? Sansel, hold on. They told me that you're crying and that you were banned and that you want to talk about it. Is that true, Sansel? You don't have anything to discuss? Do you want to just rant? I don't. Look, are you having a problem? Like, do you need help? They're telling me that, okay, Nair Socks, whether he's lying or not, I don't know. But Nair Socks said that you wanted to talk to me. Incoming call. Let's see. Okay. Oh, hold on. Hi.
They are interrupting you for no fucking reason. I was opining about the good old days of Twitch when you could just like jump into a random Discord and start talking to people. And then they told me that you were crying and that you wanted to talk to me.
So, in other words, they're lying to us, and they.
Yes. Okay. They're trying to get us to talk to each other. If there's something specifically that you want to talk about, I guess I'm here now. But
I have nothing, man. I wasn't.
Okay.
I'm
Gotcha.
sorry.
Also,
dude.
why are you saying that I'm banned from Twitch?
Because I was asking, did he get banned again? And they're like, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not banned from anything. Okay. So everything is chill. Everything is good.
Okay.
All right. They have just interrupted your stream for nothing.
Oh man, look.
What did you think about the we must kill them?
Oh, did you read the article?
I haven't yet. I was thinking about reading it.
You should. I think that it. Hold on. Look, I'm gonna pop us out so people can actually see something. Hold on. Give me a second. So rather than seeing my starting soon screen here, and hearing us, give me a second, please.
Fine.
Camera, pop out.
Yeah, I guess I'll turn on my camera. I guess if these people
Yeah.
really need that sort of thing.
Okay, if we're doing this, let's do this because I did read it. We read it. We went over it today, and I think it's well, once you get your camera on, I'll talk.
Sec. Pop out.
Give him a minute, gang. Tech is hard.
Tech is hard. You know what? You go ahead. If you've got my oh, you don't have my camera. That's why.
No, I
You're
have
waiting.
me though. I mean, they can see me.
Yeah, let's do this. Start virtual camera. Howdy.
Beautiful, beautiful discussion. Okay, let me get it so we're both here. And I think we're set. So, you know me. I'm a very big opponent of political violence. I don't like political violence. I think a lot of people that are calling for political violence are doing it because they're stupid and mean and hateful, and this is coming from a place of hate. They don't want to actually fix anything. They just hate their opponents and they want to hurt them. And a lot of people will call for political violence through there. However, I read Nicholas Decker's piece, and again, when I was first drawing my attention to it, I was like, oh, it's just going to be another one of these, right? It was not. I thought it was well argued. I thought it was well written, and it dealt with the subject with a level of gravitas that I thought merited an actual discussion and a response. Now, to be clear, I think that he overplays his hand. I think that he posits a scenario that we aren't there yet. Or I think he posits a scenario that does not exist yet. We are on trajectory towards that, perhaps, but we are not even near there. And I think that he undersells some of the other solutions that we have to this problem. I do think it was irresponsible of him to put this out, because a lot of people who are less serious than him are going to take these words and use it and run with it to promote their hate shit. But I do think, again, it was worth a response, and it was worth actually going over. It's a short article. It's not very long at all. You can probably get through it in 10 minutes if you don't pause a lot. But yeah, it's definitely worth reading.
So, were you moved over to the position that there is a certain point at which you think?
Well, that's always been my position.
Sure. Do you think that we're closer to it now?
Are we closer to it now? Yes.
Well, did the article move you in that direction?
No. But it did. It did showcase, I think, that we have moved to a position where I think serious people are now at least talking. Does that make sense? We are in a position where there are people who would normally not even discuss it, right? Who wouldn't be part of the mob or whatever chanting, hang Mike Pence, or Luigi was based, or whatever. That there are more serious people at least asking the question, which is its own sort of terrifying.
Yeah, I think that where we're at right now, I think that reasonable people are going to start asking the questions that the unreasonable people were asking before. And that's going to make a lot of the discussions that we've had for the past couple of years really difficult to have going forward. Because I know that you and I know that me have been very staunchly anti-political violence, extremist action, stuff like that. But we are now at the moment that we had argued that it's, there is a point where go time is go. It's time for it. It's time to go. And
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The further along that this goes, without any kind of pushback, because it can't be pushback from Democrats.
Yeah.
Republicans are going to have to push back on their own. Republicans are going to have to talk to their family members. They're going to have to talk to people in their communities, their friends who are Trump voters. And they're going to have to tell them, hey, this is actually too far. This is they're deporting people for violating First Amendment stuff. They're deporting people with no due process. They're destroying the economy with no clear end goal or strategy along the way. They're having to corner Trump in the Oval Office while other aides are in meetings on the other side of the White House so they can convince him to roll back the tariffs and tweet it out fast enough for that other guy to, still be in his meeting.
Yeah.
Like this is where we're at right now. And it's going to take either I don't know what the line is, because conservatives were ready to murder Democrats over, drag queen story time. They were showing up with guns, right? What is the line for blatantly defying
Sure.
court orders? At what point? So my message is Republicans need to talk to their fucking family members, and they need to tell them, like, hey, this needs to stop. We need to start speaking out against it.
So 3 things, okay? And I'm going to go in the reverse order. So the first of all, one of the things that I have noticed, and this gives me hope, is that there are Republicans, Trump voters, people who voted for Trump both times, who are saying, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't okay. I'm not okay with this. I'll give you an example. Drone Tech, pretty MAGA guy, right?
I know Drone Tech well.
Yeah. He's like, no, I don't support the way they're doing these deportations at all. This is crazy. What are they saying? Like, he's criticized a lot of the weirdos on Twitter who've been saying, and when I say weirdos on Twitter, I mean people with like hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter who are saying things like, oh, it's time to dissolve the Supreme Court and things like that, because there are some MAGA supporters who are saying that.
Yep.
And he's like, no, this isn't okay. This isn't okay. I see people like Douglas Murray push against the crazies on their side. I see people like Richard Hanania, right, saying, I regret my vote. And I've heard from several Trump voters who tell me that they regret their vote because they didn't think he was going to do all this crazy. So that gives me hope. I hope it continues. And I think that as things get worse, they have the ability to get better, because once Trump loses enough support that Congress turns on him, I think that's it. Right now, he's fighting with the courts. But if he had to fight with the courts in Congress, I think that's I just don't think he wins that fight. He might with the courts, but I don't think he wins both. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. I've been like pretty disappointed with the lack of moral consistency, or just like any consistency from conservatives. Like, if I see people in your chat here, 1 second, where did it go? Oh fuck. Of course, now it becomes impossible to find. The LARP is strong in here, and don't ask for go time unless you're ready to go away yourself. Like, I don't think people are appropriately appreciating the moment that we're in. It is at the, maybe not like immediately like we need to arm up and start marching right this second, but we're at the point where we're looking at the end of the democracy. We are looking at that doesn't mean that we're all going to be, wearing gray jumpsuits and being beaten with truncheons in the street by SS officers, right? It just means that what America was and what America stood for is no more. That, right? It doesn't mean that everyone's life instantly gets worse. It means that for the past 250 years, we've had a system of governance where the people vote for representatives, and those representatives make decisions, and we disagree on policy, but we generally want things to get better for everyone in the country. Right now, we're looking at Republicans trying to seize as much power as possible so that they can do what they want to do. I don't want to live in that country. I want to fight and die for stupid, tiny little policy wins. All right. I want to fight and die for stupid little budget adjustments. I don't want to have to fight and die for my country.
So
right?
I'm going to read you the last line of this essay, because the second point I had, and I think we're there now, is he does give some lines that this gentleman, Decker, says are lines for him, and he lists them out, right? And I'll just list them real quick for you. If the president administration should cancel elections, and yeah, if they cancel elections, I think that's time. Okay, yeah, let's go, right? If it should engage in fraud in the electoral process. If it should suppress the speech of its opponents and jail its political adversaries, if it ignores the wills of Congress, if it should directly spurn the orders of the court, And those are the reasons he lists as reasons for revolution. He ends with this. And this line, I think, as you read it, I think it's an interesting line to end on. He says this: "This evil will not pass without blood, sweat, toil, and tears. So harden your hearts and be prepared to die."
That is the only line from the entire thing that I saw, because I scrolled to the bottom and I saw that. I was like, Jesus, okay, well,
Yeah,
I guess we're going to see some crazy shit in this one.
But it's laid out with such brevity and such clarity that, again, as I said before, I don't agree with his premise. I don't agree with the setting he's made, and I don't agree with his proposal. I don't think we're anywhere near where he says we are, but it is an interesting question. And it does deserve a response.
You don't think we're near, though?
Huh?
You don't think we're near?
I think that we have a host of options before us to redress the harms that this country, this administration is doing that fall far short of open rebellion or revolution. I think that we are currently going through the courts. I think that Congress will step up. I think that the voters will have a chance to push him out. Yeah, I just don't think we're near the revolution. Right?
I don't think that we're like, to be clear, I don't think that this is happening or is guaranteed to happen in the near future. I'm saying that we're at the point where the questions that would need to be asked are being asked.
Yeah.
You know, when the things that would need to happen for us to start having those alarm bells, those are actually happening now. Whereas in the past, we've poo-pooed and said, you're freaking out over nothing. There is no transgenocide, blah, 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 stuff like that, right? There was always the, like, if this happened, if that happened, then, this is an acceptable response. It's just like people need to recognize we're at that point where those questions, those preconditions are starting to be asked, and we have to fight like hell so that we don't have to fight like hell.
So one of the things I said earlier to my audience, I'm not sure you were here for yet, but one of the things I said to my audience is that I used to scold people like Josiah. I used to scold people like Pisco. I used to scold others for saying Trump's going to destroy the Constitution. Trump's going to violate the courts. Trump's going to be all this, that, and the other. I was like, oh, you're being hyperbolic. I don't like the guy. He's going to pass policies I don't like, and I'm going to oppose politically. But come on, calm down. And I remember saying that. I'd be like, calm down. You're being hyperbolic. This is silly. And boy, oh boy, have I had to eat my words. I've had to be like, okay, no, maybe you had a point. It's like you talked about how we can't have the same conversations we used to have in the same way we had, and I think we're already there. I think we are at the point where I can't just dismiss out of hand someone coming to my chat and saying, I think that our Constitution's in real danger. I can't dismiss that out of hand. I remember after the election, right after November 4th or whatever, when I had a call-in show, and there's a gentleman, and I forget his name, and I wish I could remember because I'd like to apologize to him. But there's a man who came on my show, and he expressed worry because he had a lot of immigrant friends that he felt were going to be deported to a concentration camp. And he was talking about hiding his friends in his attic and taking arms against ICE when they came to get his friends. And I was like, man,
you feel
don't
like
do
a
that.
real
That's
asshole
silly.
now. You got his friends deported to that fucking CCOT place. They're fucking getting tortured right now in El Salvador.
I was making fun of him
and
the whole time because I'm like, you're
because
crazy.
you didn't let him prepare. You didn't let him prepare. And now who could be Anne Frank under his fucking floorboards is now, Anne Frank after the floorboards. And it's all your fault.
It probably, look, again, I was telling this guy, I was making fun of this guy, being like, that's crazy. He'd never do that. That's an insane thing to say. And I look back
Yeah,
on
and
my
now we look like
conversation
it's
there,
like
and
a
I was like,
psyop.
man, oh man, this guy picked it. Like,
It's like the Trump administration is a psyop, like built so people like you and me look like retards when we tell everyone not to say like, "Oh, they're fascists. Oh, they're Nazis. Oh, they're fascists. Oh, they're Nazis." It's like a psyop specifically made to make us look retarded for saying, "Hey, this is like a little bit unhinged. This is like a little bit crazy." But like, I'm not gonna sit there and you know berate people anymore that have these opinions that like, oh, things are like really bad because now we're at the bad times. Now we're at the bad times, and it's time we like everybody recognize that, even the fucking centrists, even the center right Republicans that voted for Trump and thought it would just be not as bad as voting for Kamala or Hillary or whoever the fuck they refused to vote for instead of Trump. Um, yeah, we're at a crossroad, folks. It's really bad.
Mhm.
And if you like care about anything to do with your country, if you care about politics, if you care about any of the issues that we talk about on stream, then it's I'm probably going to retire streaming in totality sometime in the next 3 to 4 months because I'm not talking about politics anymore. I'm going out and I'm going to do it, right? Like it's time for people to put up or shut up. Like we got to fight so that actual fighting doesn't happen.
Kamikaze says this. Let's be honest, Ansel. You make yourself look retarded without any need for help.
Yeah, no, that's because I'm a retard.
Fair
Congratulations.
enough.
You've cracked the code.
I do think that we do need both, right? We need people to inspire those to get involved, and we need people to get involved, and hopefully both. People can be both. You can be someone who inspires people while getting involved yourself. It's hard though. It is hard because I don't want to always talk about Trump. I don't. I don't always want to be doom and gloom. I don't. I find it boring. But it's necessary because he's every day coming up with new crazy things that he's doing. And again, I think that if we're not talking about him literally ignoring the Supreme Court, violating the Supreme Court, which is happening now, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yep.
Oh man. Anyway,
like we do need people that are going to inspire people to go out, and we need people who are going to go out. That's absolutely true. We need people to recognize the moment that we're in. That is the most important thing. Recognizing the moment that we're in and actually like going out, because we treat this like it's drama slop. But I live in DC, and I am witnessing with mine own two eyes, not even people that I personally know, just like people whose lives are getting ruined right now for no discernible fucking reason. And it's the and these are the conservatives in your Discord. You've seen the things that I've said in our group chat on Twitter, the absolutely unconscionable, fucking disgusting, vile things that I've said. Because if you're a hardcore Trump person right now, you literally have worse behavior than the Nazis that we've argued against for the past 5 years. I have never felt such visceral fucking anger for anyone in my entire life for the unbelievable level of grotesque like cruelty worship that you fucking people do. It is actually unconscionable.
That is
the people that do that need to Aaron Bushnell right now.
Hold on. Okay.
No one will miss you.
Let's not go too far with that. But I will say this: the worst thing, or one of the worst things that I've seen that this do is, and I said this before, but I'll repeat it: the celebration of cruelty. It is now the thing. A lot of people don't just not mind that the policies that Trump's putting in place are hurting people. It actively engages them and makes them happy. The cruelty. I used to make fun of people when they said this, but it's just true now. The cruelty is the point. So. But
Sorry, I had to
you're okay.
take care of something.
You do.
But
yeah.
Anyways, sorry for my soy rant and all
You're
that.
fine.
Sorry to interrupt your show and all of that.
You're
Anything
fine.
else that you want to talk about?
Man, I don't know. What about you?
You hear about this Oblivion remake?
Yeah, my kind chatters bought it for me. So
Oh, look at that.
after I'm done here, I'm gonna go reinstall that and play it.
Did you ever play Oblivion back in the day?
I
or?
played Morrowind, I played Oblivion, I played Skyrim. Oblivion was my favorite of the three.
Yeah, that was my
I played
first
Daggerfall, but I didn't
RPG
like that as
that.
much. But
Yeah, Daggerfall is unplayable. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get back to this.
Before you go. What do you think about the RFK Jr.'s autism registry they got going on? Guys, this is a real thing. The RFK Jr. Has decided that he is going to create a registry of diseases and people with diseases, and he is going to put people with autism on a registry, on a government database. You gonna have fun in the autism camps, brother?
I know that when they open up Switch, I'm going to be the first in line because I'm the kind of autistic that sits in his kitchen and flaps his arms like a bird while his chicken nuggets are frying in the air fryer. So I know that I'm first in
You're
line.
on the list, brother.
I know that my life is on the line, and I will fight like hell. I will claw my way up from hell. Okay, if I get sent to the Switch. Okay.
You're going there. We will make a memorial for you, right? As one of the few people who stream that doesn't have any kind of ism, except for racism, gang, and sexism. But no, without any
You
of
have
the
to make
autism
sure
or anything
everybody
like
says
that,
something. Everyone has to say at least one nice thing about me, and it has to be like really heartfelt. And you have to make me like look cool and seem cool when you're giving my eulogy.
It'll be a very
and you can give one of
tasteful-
the eulogy.
Very tasteful statue.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right.
Anyway,
well,
buddy.
We'll catch you later.
We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, gang. Give me a second. Had to do the stream transition there. I don't know what to tell you, gang. Did you guys like today's show? We got some great content coming up. What do we got coming up? Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have Big Papa Buckaroo. Okay. We're going to have Visora. We're going to have New York Shade. We're going to have Ivory Fool. And we're going to have Mooncake. And we're going to be talking, has America downfall started? Are we an empire in decline? Have we fallen? It'll be a great discussion. Tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, we're going to have a debate between the Alex Kirsch Project and Katyusha versus Admiral Gibbs and Grid Motorsports on whether or not Hegseth should resign or be fired. So tune in. There's going to be some great content coming up. If you guys missed it, last night I debated Rattlesnake and a guy named Cooley from the No Fugazi podcast. Me and Soy Pill teamed up to debate them. Crushed it. Andrew Wilson jumped on afterwards to try to have another go at me. He keeps getting BTFO'd. That's 3 wins for Wick, 0 for Andrew Wilson. If you want to see that, you can tune into last night's stream and check it out and decide for yourself. But crazy, gang. Box Andrew Wilson Wick. Time and place. Time and place. But yeah, it's fun. So tune in tomorrow. Should be good content. And thank you once again. If you've enjoyed the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, do all the things. You guys want to raid into Sansel? We're gonna raid into Sansel. What a nice guy. Before he goes to the autism camps, wish him well. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm gonna go download Oblivion now. I love you.